Day 10 of the Alex Murdaugh murder trial ended Friday with more witness testimonies. One of them was Michael Tony Satterfield. He's the son of Murdoch's longtime housekeeper, Gloria, who died on the job after falling and hitting her head. Satterfield said Murdaugh claimed to get him and his brother at least $100,000 each after the settlement in his mother's case, but kept a $4 million settlement for himself. The 54-year-old is standing trial in the shooting deaths of his wife and son back in June of 2021 at their South Carolina home. Murdaugh is also accused of nearly 100 other charges related to financial crimes. Imran Ansari joins us now. He's a criminal defense attorney at Aidala, Bertuna and Kamins law firm, as well as a former prosecutor. So what were the highlights this week?
Yeah, no, this week was a highlight, or a high point, I should say, for the prosecution in certain points, particularly so related to the Snapchat videos that were found on the deceased son, Paul Murdaugh's phone. We have to take that in conjunction with the fact that Alex Murdaugh is claiming an alibi defense and that he wasn't at the scene of the crime when these murders happened. The Snapchat videos that were taken from the son's phone, the two witnesses that testified about those videos state that they were 100% certain that it was Alex Murdaugh's voice in those videos. So that's going to go directly to contradict what Alex Murdaugh told law enforcement after the murders, that he was not at the scene. That's going to be a pretty key piece of evidence that the prosecution is going to rely on.
Friday, the court heard from a fingerprint analysis expert. What was the impact there?
Right. So the certain forensic evidence, including the fingerprint analysis, is going to be critical for the prosecution's case, but also the analysis on the shell casings that were found on or about the bodies of both Maggie Murdaugh and Paul Murdaugh, and matching certain firearms that were family weapons, so to say, or weapons that were in the possession of Alex Murdaugh and the family. So this forensic evidence, along with the fingerprint analysis, are going to be more circumstantial evidence that the prosecution is going to be relying on when they build their case or as they present their case to the jury against Alex Murdaugh.
Tell us about Murdaugh's demeanor this week, and will the jury hear about his financial problems?
His demeanor in court, particularly when that body cam footage was being showed and the description given about his son and wife's body, he choked up. He started crying before the jury in court. And you got to remember that this is a jury trial, and the jury is focused not only on the witnesses, but also Alex Murdaugh and his demeanor in court. And I think that the defense, when they sum up before this jury, are going to be pointing to that demeanor and saying, listen, you saw him, ladies and gentlemen. He was crying. He was choked up. He was emotional when hearing about the bodies of his wife and his son. But then, of course, the prosecution will be pointing to that also in terms of what is favorable for the prosecution's case. Now, the financial crimes, that is a key piece of evidence that the prosecution is trying to get in before this jury. And this week, we saw testimony outside of the presence of the jury from certain witnesses who are going to testify about the financial crimes that will go to the motive that the prosecution is trying to put forth before this jury, that Alex Murdaugh committed these murders in order to distract from those financial crimes and gain some sympathy in the area.
What should we be looking for next week?
Prosecution are going to bring in more witnesses regarding the investigation, regarding the forensics, and of course, people who know Alex Murdaugh and know the family in order to support and make that circumstantial case before that jury, prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. And of course, we're waiting to see if those financial crime evidence, if that's going to be permitted to go in front of that jury. I think that's going to be very telling. The prosecution, of course, don't have to prove motive, but juries always want to hear the why, especially in a case like this.
Always want to have the why.
And let's see if that motive evidence is going to get before that jury.
Imran Ansari, thank you.
Thanks for having me.